Hi guys, just going to walk you through right now basically what you need to do for this particular assignment dealing with the War of 1812. So for this assignment, what you're going to do is, of course, after you've done all the course material, you are going to go to this site and basically we're going to look at perspective again. We've been looking at perspective a lot through Unit 3 when it came to like the different images that we were looking at and everything. And now, considering that the War of 1812 and basically who won it is a very divisive sort of argument, meaning that people are still very much divided. There's no real clear winner. You're going to look at a couple of different sources talking about the War of 1812. You'll have a worksheet to go and complete, and at the end of that worksheet, you're going to write a small paragraph, okay? So essentially what you're going to do that I recommend first is open up this document right here. It's called Source Evidence. Okay, so you might go and have it get downloaded. You might have it where it like just automatically goes into your downloads. Again, if you're having issues with opening any Word documents, I have a video on the main page how to go and convert any of those Word documents into a Google Doc for you. But either way, we're going to open it up and it looks like this. And it's got 4 different boxes. They look basically all the same, but there's 4 different boxes for the 4 different sources. You're going to put your name, you're going to put the date, and where it says title of source, that is where you're going to go in and start plugging in information from this piece right here. It says open document called 1812 secondary. These are all secondary sources, meaning they're compiled by people and written from the perspective of someone that was not there. Okay, because it's well after the fact that they've been published and stuff. So you open up that document, it'll get you a PDF, and there's 4 different sources on here. To varying lengths, they're all a paragraph to maybe a couple of paragraphs, but honestly not that long for any of them. And we'll start maybe with the first one where it says title of source, okay? And that is right here, Public School History of England and Canada is essentially the title of it, okay? And then where it says who authored this source, you're gonna go back right there at the front. There are your authors, G. Mercer and W. J. Robertson, okay? That's how you go and read a citation if you haven't had the chance to go and do that already. Okay, then when was it created? We go back and right there it says 1886. 1886, that's the publication year for it. Then why do you think it was created? Who was the intended audience is the next question on this. I'm basically going to try and walk you through the first one so you have an idea. Now, a big hint as to who the intended audience is and why you think it was created is even just in the title, right? You'll find out a lot of the times even for any of these sources that you're about to go through. And what is the title of this one? It says A Public School History of England and Canada. If you need more of a hint, you can read it itself, look at the language. But if we're talking about public school, who do you think is going to be reading this? Think of that, okay? Who's the intended audience? If it's at school. So this is probably from a textbook, right? Okay, good. Then, what point of view does the author represent? For this, you will have to read it, but also a big hint, again, is coming in where was it published and what does even the title say? So this was published in Toronto, right there, okay? And it also says History of England and Canada, right? So when we're looking at the War of 1812, you can almost divide it into 3 different perspectives that you're looking at. There's the British perspective, there's the Canadian perspective, those 2 are often lumped together, and then there's the American perspective, right? Those are the 3, you got 2 on one side, 1 on the other. So whose perspective is this looking at it? Even just, if you're not 100% sure, then just have a look at what the actual thing says, who is being blamed for what, who sounds a bit better in the writing of it, okay? And then what were the causes and consequences of the war according to this source? This first one is actually broken down really nicely because it's got causes listed right there, and then consequences. Not all of them have that, particularly for this last one here where it just talks about consequences, and the one before it, which is just causes. But you're not expected to go and do like huge big things, just a couple point form notes on what the causes were, consequences. So either way, you're going to go through, do that for all 4 sources, okay? You're not done yet. At the end of all of that, after you've looked at all the sources and you should be reading them fully, okay, then you're going to write a short composition. What that means is at least 1 paragraph. So that's at least 7 to 10 sentences, okay, where you want to go and talk about why you think those perspectives, those sources are different in their telling of the story, particularly like what's causing it, what are the consequences, okay? If you're just like, well, I don't know 100% why they're different, but they are different. Here are some questions to go and consider that you could even see about answering in your paragraph, which is, what are the causes mentioned and repeated in those? What are the consequences that are mentioned and repeated? And what words and phrases in each of those sources indicates that there's a particular perspective or a bias, i.e., this is more of the American perspective. So it is going to cast America in a more positive light, it is going to go and cast Britain and Canada in a more negative type light. Same thing for the reversal. If it is a Canadian perspective, it will be a more positive Canadian spin, most likely, and then a more negative American spin. Okay, so what you're going to do for this assignment, fill out that sheet about all 4 sources, and then at the end of it, at least 1 paragraph, so minimum 7 to 10 sentences, talking about why you think those perspectives differ and how you notice that they differ. So pointing out what the differences are, number 1, and then why you think they're different. Okay, any questions, you know how to reach me either by email, messenger on Moodle, or contact me in my office hour. You guys got this.